Hey you, how's it going? My name is Ruby Price and you are listening to the 11th episode of Fresh from the Scene. So we have a new review, and this one has a pun in its title, so I'm giving it a little bit of extra credit. Yeah, refreshing, with fresh being in the brackets, because the podcast's called Fresh from the Scene. I get it. Well done. Yay! But yeah, so refreshing to have a podcast representing and supporting the local scene. Ruby is a fantastic host and really lets the artist shine in her interviews, so thank you for leaving that review. It's very much appreciated. 5 stars, well done. You might have realised there's a reason as to why I'm giving this review some publicity. Because I want you to go and review this podcast. If you have any opinions on this podcast, any feedback, whatever, go to the podcast platform you're listening to it on. If it's one that allows you to leave reviews, then please do so. I'm also bringing this up because there is a website that we are now on called Podchaser, which is where you can, leave reviews, and it's basically the IMDb for podcasts. And if that's your kind of thing, then I fully recommend going to this website. You can rate the podcast, you can leave a review, you can find out more information, you could submit more information. The same way that, you're watching a film, you see an actor and you're like, hang on a sec, who is this actor? You go onto IMDb, you look at the film, you scroll through and you're like, oh, it's this person. Awesome. It's a bit like that. And it allows you to find, the people creating the podcast, the people who are guests on the podcast, all those kind of things. So, if finding out more information about a certain podcast or curating more information about a certain podcast is your kind of thing, then podchaser.com/podcast/fresh-the-scene-962121. There'll be a link in the description, but I thought I'd read it out because it's the first time that I've brought this up. Yeah, we're also now on Stitcher, if, that's where you like to get your podcasts and you keep having to, listen to this on a different podcast platform. I know how frustrating that can be. Then, we are now on Stitcher, stitcher.com/podcast/fresh-from-the-scene. So many hyphens. So this week's podcast was recorded before an event. That event would be Hang the DJ, the reunion, Hang the DJ 2020. Hang the DJ came back, and Hang the DJ was an amazing experience. And before Hang the DJ, I got to speak to Alex Tracey. He came on as a guest. We had a good time, and that's what you're about to listen to. So if you enjoy it, make sure you spread the word, share it on social media, all that kind of jazz. Leave a review. If you want to find Fresh from the Scene online, you can find us on Twitter at FFTScene, that's FFTSCENE, or you can find me on Twitter at Rubes, RUUBEZ. Anyway, enough from me. Please enjoy this week's episode of Fresh from the Scene with Alex Tracey.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with your host, Ruby Price.
Welcome to Fresh from the Scene. Today's guest is the ever-lovely Alex Tracey.
Hello, Ruby.
How you doing?
I'm okay, Ruby. How are you?
I'm doing good, Like
Surviving.
life, surviving,
Cracking
thriving.
on. Making those big dreams come true.
Making those big dreams come true.
That's what we like to see, Ruby. That's what we
Yeah.
like to hear. We love to see it, Ruby.
We love to see it.
We do.
Maybe we need a video counterpart to this podcast.
Yes. Absolutely. What have you been up to, Ruby?
What have I been up to? Last
Other
week.
than a wonderful podcast.
Other than the wonderful podcast. Well, I was going to just plug the podcast anyway, but people are listening to it. Uni stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of assignments were due in, so I sort of had to neglect the podcast a couple of weeks.
Happens.
But it happens.
It does happen. Final year?
Masters.
Oh, dear. So,
Yeah, final year was 2017, 2018.
Yeah, same for me. Rough do that.
Rough day.
Came out on top though in the end. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
Yeah,
But, you've come back to Huddersfield for the weekend
I have indeed.
because there's a certain thing happening tomorrow at the time of recording, but it will be in the past by the time this episode comes out.
It's true. If you're listening to this, it went great.
If you're not listening to this, it went shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, we got a little. My old manager Liam Ward is throwing on a show at a parish favourite venue in Huddersfield, best venue in Huddersfield. He's doing a little Hang the DJ reunion show. So he had an event which he did throughout university, his time at university when I was there as well, which was called Hang the DJ, and you'll probably remember he did quite a few nights. sort of spaced out across a year. And he did it in multiple years. It was really successful, had some great bands come through, did it in lots of various locations. I think we did it in Byram Arcade was one of them, did it in Zetland, we've obviously done it in Parish. Those are the three that strike me sort of first. I'm sure there were other ones that he did, he'll know better.
He did one in a lift.
He did one in a lift, that's well remembered, Ruby. He did one in a lift, that is true. It was, and you know what? Like a genius, he called it Gig in a Lift. I don't know how he came up with that.
Shakespeare.
I don't know how he did it, but that is magic, if ever I've seen it. Yeah, Gig in a Lift. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. It's just cool. It's like some really cool ideas. Yeah, Hang the DJ is brilliant. So he obviously, when he left uni, he did a kind of like a goodbye show, shall we say. And then I think about, 2 years later, he just decided, yeah, we'll have a reunion. And it was cool as well, because I saw the artwork for it, and he obviously had like the character who was sort of there to sort of represent Hang the DJ for the posters, sort of coming out of a grave, which I thought was quite cool. Yeah, he's done that well. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good lineup. Got Charlie Hewler, got myself, Courtyards, big band, Mahatma Raindrop, also a big band. Should be fun. It's going to be a big night. Sold lots of tickets.
And a DJ set from the big man himself.
And a DJ set from the big man himself.
The big man with little hair.
Big man with little hair. I agree. Liam, if you're listening, yeah. I don't think it looks bad, but I preferred you with long hair. There you are. But what does my opinion mean to you? Probably not much. I think it looks cool. He's rocking it.
But anyway, one of the things I always get people to do when they come on this podcast is describe their, their artists in their own words, because, to people who haven't heard of Alex Tracey, who is Alex Tracey?
Jesus, I wish I knew. Musically, I think it's fair to say it's quite a blend. I do think that's accurate, and that's not me trying to sound like edgy or anything like that. I do just think that's fair. Like, it is really a blend. I take all sorts of little things from lots and lots of different artists, and it all comes together to kind of make just me, I guess, with the way that I do things. So, for example, like if I was to break it down, I'm a multi-instrumentalist. That's how I make my records. When I was in a band at school, I was in a band and I just did the guitar and backing vocals. I had a singer there. We had a bassist. We had a guitarist. Sorry, I was the guitarist. We had a drummer. And, that was cool. That was great. I loved working with other musicians. But as I was growing up, I kind of realised that the stuff that we were doing, I got more enjoyment out of just doing it all myself. Like, so, I'd go into a studio in my own time, a studio that we had at school, and I'd start laying down a drum part, I'd lay down a bass part, I'd lay down a guitar part, a keyboard part, vocals, the whole lot. And all of a sudden, hey, I've got a record, I've done something cool and I've done it by myself. And I got really addicted to that. So, me and my band at school, we all went off to uni. Obviously, I came to Huddersfield. We kind of all just went and did our own thing. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go solo, do it myself. Coincidentally, though, when I did join Huddersfield, I was in another band, but it was just kind of like a covers band. It was just kind of for fun, really. But it was mainly after that I decided, I'm gonna do some of my own stuff. So kind of like blend-wise, like drums and percussion and bass, they're like the absolute core of my sound every single time without fail. I worry sometimes that I don't actually think I'll be able to write a song without having some dirty bass and drums in it. Just like I'm really into, when on that front, I'm really into soul and disco. Soul and disco is like my absolute muse. I love it to bits. I just think every song that was written in the 70s, if it wasn't a hit, should have been a hit. If it sounds like it's come from if it sounds like a disco record, game on, as far as I'm concerned, because I think it's just wonderful. And it's not just like, the thing about soul and disco that I think is beautiful, is especially sort of with the drums and the bass, is a lot of it's very simple, and it's not about doing stuff that's complicated. It's actually just the sound. Like, soul and disco has a specific sound, especially with those drums, like really low tune, tight snares, and just like really dead and really dry. And you can pick out records across the 70s and 80s that just, they all sound the same in a way, like guitars and basses, and especially drums, as I've said, that they all sound the same, and they all kind of have that. I just find it remarkable that you can have a genre in a way that's defined by drum sound. And obviously that's the 80s for you, basically, isn't it? It's like every 80s song more or less had a gated reverb on it, and that's just how that works. That's the 80s sound. Thank you very much, Phil Collins. Good work. But yeah, so like drum wise, it's kind of tends to be soul and disco. But it's interesting when it comes to bass, for example. That's a really fine blend because I love I love soul and disco, as I've said, and that means kind of slapping and sort of like finger work and that type of thing, and that sort of Wolfpack kind of thing, like kind of mid-range boost, that kind of thing. But then my favourite bass player is Paul McCartney from the Beatles, and he's like a really kind of subby, melodic kind of player. So the way I play a bass is I basically just combine the two. I often play in the style of a sort of soul, sort of Bernard Edwards chic kind of vibe, but then it sounds like a Paul McCartney kind of thing, and I play on a Hofner bass, which is the way Paul McCartney does. So I guess the real life example of that, kind of the blend of that for me, was probably Kevin Parker, Tame Impala, because he does that. He plays a lot of funky stuff, but he plays it on a Hofner, and it's very subby, and it works. So I take a lot of vibe from Kevin Parker. He's brilliant. Love Tame Impala. And then like guitar, it's all over the place really. It's a few people. I think probably the most important influence in my life from a guitar point of view is probably John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who just rejoined the band.
Yeah.
I nearly cried when I saw that tweet. I was like, whoa, 16-year-old me is in bits right now.
He can't stop.
Amazing. He can't. Oh, Ruby. That was smooth, man. Love it. Yeah. Incredible stuff. I can't believe he's rejoining the band. John Frusciante was like main one for me. Just 16-year-old, 15, 16, 17-year-old me when I was learning how to actually play a guitar properly and play it well. It was all Frusciante. John Frusciante, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. Man, that guy's brilliant. Mark Knopfler, he's pretty cool. I liked a lot of sort of the melodic stuff that he does with his guitar lines. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think probably John Frusciante is probably my main guitar influence though. Keyboards, I haven't really got anybody in mind. It's mainly just like the genre again of soul and disco. My favourite keyboard sound is an electric piano because it's just warm, it's just beautiful, it's sexy, and it's just every single time I play it, I'm like, damn, I want to write a record now because I'm playing an electric piano. Gorgeous sound. But then it's funny, so you've got all these different blends, but then if you group them all together, they all kind of fall under the umbrella of the way that I like to write songs. I like to think is like almost 100% influenced by just the Beatles because they're my favourite band. If you didn't know that already, you should know that already because I talk about it every other 5 minutes when I'm doing stuff. Yeah, the Beatles are, my absolute life. I learned everything that I learned how to do from the Beatles. And I think the message that the Beatles sent musically, which has always stuck with me, is you don't have to be the best musician in the world to write a great record. And I think that's fair. They're all fantastic musicians, but, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, none of them are like Van Halen when it comes to guitar.
Yeah.
It's not like Ringo Starr is exactly, Phil Collins or John Bonham on the drums,
He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles, and that is actually true. Paul McCartney is a banging drummer. He's really good. But you see, that's the thing. That is the beauty of Ringo Starr, because he's not the flashy drummer. He is, and this really resonates with me, he's the drummer that knows how to play for the tune, play for the song, and he does his absolute core job, which is keep the time. And that's really important for me because in my musical career, I've worked with a lot of drummers, and, I think in my band, for example, like the drummer's often been the sort of loosest place, should we say. I've had a few, I've kept the sort of same bassist and guitarist, obviously Bamber and Bean. They've stayed for quite a while, but in the time that they've been there, I think I've maybe had 2 or 3 drummers come in that time. And when I'm recruiting, like when I'm looking for somebody to fill that spot, I don't care about how flashy you are. Speed is not my thing. I don't care. Like you could just like absolutely smash some like blast beat metal triplets or whatever, and you could impress me the hell out of, I could be like, whoa, you're really, really fast. But I've seen some drummers who they can do all this really, really fast stuff. And it's like, yeah, brilliant, nice one, mate. And then I say, cool, just play me a 4/4 beat, just, to time, to a click. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, bang. Can't do it.
No.
Crumble.
They like the consistency to actually,
I agree.
Do something simple.
Without meaning to be obviously disrespectful to drummers.
Yeah.
I'm a drummer myself. I love drummers. They're the most important member of them. The most important part of a band is the drummer. But I kind of think to myself, my music is so bass drum heavy, shall we say. It's so syncopation heavy. Like the drums and the rhythm have always 100% got to be on point. And if you can't keep time, it's not much point. It's not going to work, is it? And I just kind of think as a drummer in general, your absolute core basic before you do anything flashy should be, can I play to a click? Because if you want studio work, you need to be able to play to a click. If you want to just be a good drummer in general, you need to learn to play to a click. That basically just ensures that you play in time and you're a drummer. I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's quite important. But yeah, lots of different influences.
Yeah, that's a very long-winded way of explaining who Alex Tracey is.
Well,
but it all came together in the end.
come together
Exactly.
right now. Great song.
This is the most puns I've ever been able to throw into one show.
Yeah, that is a long way of saying who I am, but not.
You're the kind of musician who requires a long-winded way of saying who you are.
It's not a simple answer. I don't even think I've actually properly said, like, what I actually am. All I've said is that I'm a blend. Basically, in a nutshell, Alex Tracey is, I think the best way that somebody described it is if John Lennon and Drake had a birthday party and Bruno Mars showed up.
Okay. I can see that.
It's like, I think my official title is DIY pop, which is like garage pop. It's kind of the way I see it in my mind is it's old school funk and disco done with like a modern guitar-y commercial kind of vibe. Bruno Mars with a bit more rock and roll.
And every now and then a guitar line that, just stays through the entire song and in your head for the entire year.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that's the plan. Are you talking about Take Me to the Other Side, Ruby?
Yeah.
I thought
Happy
you were.
birthday, Take It to the Other Side
Happy
the other
birthday,
day.
Take Me to the Other Side. I love you, Take Me to the Other Side. You beautiful song. No, I'm very proud of that song. I really love that song, actually.
Did you record that in Parr St Studios?
I did.
Yeah.
I recorded bits of it in Parr St Studios in little chunks. That was an exciting experience, actually. Man,
I was about to ask how that went.
That was
Because that was
really fun.
2017?
No,
maybe 2018?
No, that was 2018.
Yeah,
that
2018.
Was. Yeah, that was in the.
I keep forgetting we're
No,
in
no,
2020 now.
I keep forgetting as well. It was in the summer of 2018. Yeah, I took a little trip to Parr Street. I took my drummer with me as well. We were there for 2 days. We laid down the foundations for 2 songs. One was Take Me to the Other Side. One is another one that I haven't released yet. Probably going to go on an album at some point, which is also pretty cool. But it was just a great experience, man. They've got some great gear. Really cool place. Really cool people. Got a lot of history in there as well.
Yeah, I was about to say for the casual listener, like, what's the significance of Parr St Studios?
So Parr St Studios is just it's well, in a nutshell, it's just a really well-known studio in Liverpool, and it's had loads of people walk through that door, like loads of people. Some really serious albums have been done in there. Like the biggest names that I can think of. Here we go, Alex Tracey name dropping. Drake was in there, did an album. Justin Bieber was in there. Paolo Nutini recorded. I can't remember the name of the album now. That's annoying, but it's like the big one that he did, the one that he's well known for, the one that had like New Shoes.
Yeah. I can't remember
Don't
the
be
name.
hasty. That one. Slow down, lie down. That one. Whatever. Those 3 bangers.
I'm sure someone will tell us on social media.
Yeah.
How could you forget this Paolo Nutini album?
Oh, look, I know the album cover. It's like the sort of really kind of like almost psychedelic one. It's got like 4 strips of colour on it. Wonderful album. That was done there. Coldplay, Parachutes.
Oh, yeah.
That includes Yellow.
I mean, that's probably one of their best songs, so.
I've got a photo, which I think I put on my Instagram. Right, Chris Martin. Little Chris.
They're different artists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Little Chris. Damn. Oh, damn. I didn't even mean to go there, and I did. I'm very sorry, listeners. R.I.P. Little Chris. Chris Martin, though, he signed his name on the bottom of the piano.
Oh, yeah.
In Parr Street, and I took a little photo of it. It says Chris Martin was ear. E-R-E. Very clever. Yeah. No, that was cool.
Did you add a bit of graffiti yourself, or was it just...
I wasn't allowed.
Were
I
you
wasn't
not?
allowed. Not famous enough.
No.
That's how that works, unfortunately. Not fair. One day, though.
I mean, I guess Chris Martin could have just, written off any, fines.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one day, the idea is when I'm famous enough and I'm successful enough, I can go back into Parr Street and just write my name on the floor in, spray paint, in, turquoise or something. Just be like,
Hot pink and yellow.
Am I good enough for you now? That's the plan.
Tipex over Chris Martin.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Martin was it. No, Alex Tracey was it. I can't talk about myself in the third person just yet, though. It's not appropriate because I'm just not there yet, Ruby.
You'd be a bit crazy to do that.
Oh, was that another pun? Ah, stop this. Stop it.
I will stop. I mean, to be fair, I struggle, but
Yeah,
I see a pun, I go for it.
Yeah, no, but the trip to Parr Street was brilliant. As I say, I did it in chunks. So I'm a bedroom producer. I do all my work in my own room. I've got some really cool gear. It's nice, it's comfortable. That's often the way these days. Like you've had so many great bits of work come out.
Yeah, I mean, Billie Eilish's album was recorded,
Was just about to say, Billie Eilish, Phineas, that guy, that girl, they are doing wonderful things, especially him for the bedroom producer, and her obviously for the aspiring artist. They've both absolutely smashed it, and honestly, it really took my breath away. I saw a documentary, very small one, just when it went into Phineas's room, which is where he does all the work, and he was like, we literally just recorded the entire album, everything that we've done. She's sat on this bed, and the bed wasn't even made. Like, it's just like, it's actually a bed. It's like, it's not glamorous. It's not a studio. It's like not fancy at all. It's just a bedroom with some gear in it, like everybody else. And made an album that won 5 Grammys. And you're just like, okay, better get my shit together then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Billie Eilish has set that bar annoyingly high. So is Phineas for the bedroom producer. No, it's fantastic though. It's really, really cool how the things that you can do these days, magical stuff. I think it's incredible what they've managed to do. The entire album is done in that bedroom, and it's like it's just a bedroom. It's a bedroom. It's incredible. Like, and it's cool as well because their label offered to be like, let's send you into loads of like really fancy studios. We'll throw a lot of money at you to get this all done, get this all properly polished and all that. And they're just like, no.
Now we're going to do this the way that we've done it to impress you in the first place.
Precisely, we're just going to do this the way that we feel most comfortable doing it. Because at the end of the day, if we're not comfortable, it will affect the music, and that's not being a cliche. That is genuinely true. You have to be comfortable. You have to be in a good space, and I feel like, without meaning to, I feel like that's something that I would probably do if that happened to me. As in, like, I can definitely see myself now if I ever got to a stage in my career where that was a possibility. If somebody said, well, no, we'll send you into some great studios, I probably would go there for a few bits, but ultimately, when it came down to the core elements, like, mixing side of things and getting it down to how I want it to sound, that would just be done in my room. On my
DIY
speakers.
pop, isn't it?
DIY pop,
Exactly.
exactly. Precisely.
You record the things you can't record in a bedroom, elsewhere, and then you go home and you do it yourself.
Precisely. I think if I had that offer on the table, the way I'd see it is, I'd go to the studio to get the fancy mics, the fancy engineers, the fancy rooms, get it all pristine, get it all perfect, get every possible sound that I can to that absolute pristine quality. All the outboard gear, they can do what they want with that. That's fine. And then I'll send the track to me, and then me and a third-party producer, probably, just objective opinion. Just hammer it out in my bedroom, get it how I want it. Maybe send it back to somebody else who's more experienced as well. Just do a little bit to and fro. But, I think that's the best. Another band as well that's absolutely smashed that, as we were just talking about, is 1975. Because they did their third album, Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. Great album.
It's my favourite 1975 album.
I agree. It's my favourite one as well.
It was actually the album that got me to listen to them properly rather than...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because before that album, like, all I'd really heard was Chocolate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is okay, but it's not really, it's not my thing. And then I was coming back from London, needed something to listen to, and our friend Georgia was like, you should listen to this. And I was like, okay, I'm not really... why not? And then I listened to it and I was like, before, like, the 5th track, I was like, yes.
I agree. No, I'm the same in the sense that everybody, like, goes nuts about the first album. Sort of the true 1975 fans absolutely adore that first album, and I'll hold my hands up and say I never really listened to that first album that much, not properly. I've heard a few songs off it, obviously Chocolate, never really got into it. It was the second album that really took my sort of pricked my ears up, mainly because of the production on it. The production on that second album is wonderful. There's some really, really big tunes on there that sound great. In particular, Somebody Else that's like one of those rare opportunities, sort of rare moments, especially in this day and age, because all the technology is available. If you're not making it sound great, then that's your fault.
Yeah.
Not anybody else's, because it's all there, it's all available. You can do it all in your room. But like, the point is, it's rare in whenever it was released, 2015, 16, 17, whatever. It's rare that you sit down in a day like today and still kind of have that opportunity to go, whoa, this sounds flawless. It sounds great. And that happened with me with Somebody Else. I just think that song is just so wonderfully mixed. It sounds brilliant. Everything on that album is just like snappy. It's just so clear. It's brilliant. And then the thing that I love the most is obviously the third album is self-produced by them in their little space. And that album also sounds sick. It just sounds great. Like, it just sounds really good. And you could there are parts of it as well where you can tell it still sounds very kind of self-produced. It doesn't quite have the kind of clarity or the sort of absolute pristine condition that the second album did, which was done in a proper studio with a proper producer, that kind of thing. But it's still incredible.
I feel like if they'd gone into a studio with a producer, the guitar tone on Give Yourself a Try might not be so abrasive.
I agree. But that's what makes the song, that's the best bit. That's how they wanted that. Clearly that's how they wanted it to be.
Because it's a very deliberate sounding
It is.
thing.
It's filthy. I remember listening to it, but just Jesus Christ.
Turn it down, lads.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, guys.
Yeah.
Calm it down. No, it's cool. But like the vocal sounds on that album, for example, are brilliant. And the thing that I like about that third album in particular, as I've said, is when you're listening to it, you can hear at times how like it is just a bit more rough and ready because they've done it themselves. And I think that's a credit to the album. Being pristine and sort of being really crystal clear in terms of your mixes is good to a degree, but once you've done it and you've absolutely like smashed it in terms of what they did with that second album, as Matty Healy said on a regular, you gotta keep doing other stuff. You know? I think this next album they're about to release.
It's a very versatile sounding thing that very versatile sounding thing that they've done so far. Like People sounds nothing like anything I ever expected the 1965 to sound like.
I agree.
And I heard that song live. I heard that song first live.
Whoa, wow, really?
Yeah, because they released it at the weekend of Leeds Fest.
That's the one, Reading and Leeds.
And they walked out and played it, and I was like,
damn.
Wait, what?
I'm at the wrong band. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I'm glad, though, because they said, especially, like, they've said on record a few times now that this album is going to be not like the first, second or third. It's not going to be as a big a commercial album, should we say. It's definitely a lot more their thing, which they're due an album of that kind of calibre because they've had 3 albums and they've all been huge hits, especially the second one. They've done the whole, we're a pop band that can make chart-topping tunes. It's time to do their own thing, which I think is brilliant because that's how it should be with artists. You've always got to respect yourself first before you kind of make those decisions to kind of make it user-friendly, if that makes sense, radio-friendly. But as you say, things like People, for example. Matty Healy's always loved being an emo, let's be honest about that. And that's his thing. I'm glad that he's had an opportunity musically to go back to that. I think that's brilliant. And then you've obviously got the other one, Frail State of Mind. Like, you put those two together and it's like, well, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
They are not the same.
They're definitely not going to be track 1 and 2 of the album.
Yeah, exactly. And they
watch them be track 1 and 2 of the album.
Imagine. I'll be like, oh, guys, you're taking the piss now, aren't you? And there's another one as well. I did a Me and You Together song.
Yeah.
I just released a video for that yesterday. That's pretty cool. But again, all 3 of those songs are really different. I actually got like a very kind of Blink-182 vibe from that Me and You Together song, which I think is quite interesting. Happy days with 1975. I think they're doing well. It's brilliant. Good for them. I'm happy. I like them.
So back to Alex Tracey rather than Matty Healy. You said that you'd recorded some like little bits when you were in Parr Street. Does that mean that you have stuff that could be released this year, perhaps? Yeah. I've got some cool stuff coming out this year. This year's going to be meant to be. It's planning on being so far. It's planning on being a big year in terms of releasing records, releasing something bigger than just we do need
more
than the 4 singles that we've got.
Doing more than just singles now. I'm planning an EP, which is pretty cool. That's been in the work. That's been in the pipeline for a while. It's just been trying to get it right, basically, because, I'm an artist and I care about my music. So that means taking time on it. But no, the plan is I'm going to release a single, I'm going to release an EP, and I'm going to release another single. I'm not going to offer too much details in terms of what's on the EP or what's on the singles, because obviously I want that to be a surprise.
Exactly, that makes sense.
But I can tell people who are listening that it is coming. Stuff is happening, stuff is coming, and you will know about it when it's there, because the next single that I'm going to release, I am really excited to get that out, because I think it's a cool record. I think it's a really cool. I really enjoyed making it. I really enjoyed writing it. And there's been a few people who I've played the record to, and they've all kind of had the same reaction, which is, that could be good. Play that right. So I'm hoping I'm going to play that right. That's the plan. So I'm looking forward to that. And then obviously, once that single's out, I'm going to focus on an EP. which will also hopefully be quite special. Happy days. I'm looking
Happy
forward to
days.
it. And then, you know, tours as well. Best part of being a musician, in my opinion, other than the horrible sweaty vans. But that's just a given. You've got to do it. I think summer, I'm going to try and get some really big gigs. I say really big gigs. What I mean by that is lots of gigs. Big tour, should we say. I want to do a big tour in the summer. That's what I'm planning on doing. And yeah. No, 2020 is going to be an exciting year for me, I think. Lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to crack on with. I'm a busy boy at the moment, trying to get this all sorted.
Yeah, I feel like all your Instagram story ever is just you know, like sat either by a piano or by a drum. Just like, right, what's this that I'm playing?
Absolutely.
How does this sound?
No, that's all I do. Like, to be honest with you, I need to get out more. I think that's something I need to do, to be honest. I spend too much time in my recording studio, writing, mixing, making, creating, but that is how you get stuff done these days.
So obviously, you know, you came to Huddersfield, you know, basically developed in the Huddersfield music scene, so to speak. Like, have you kept an eye on that since, you know, you've moved away? Like, what sort of things have you like seen developing?
Well, it's nice. It's really nice because, you know, when I was at university and I joined the scene, you know, the Huddersfield scene, Huddersfield's a small place, but my goodness me, it's got a cracking scene. Like, genuinely, Huddersfield does bits in terms of bands and sort of band culture and that type of thing. And, you know, I don't want to say the words rock and roll is dead, but rock and roll is dying.
Yes.
And it's difficult, I feel, these days to go and sort of see a band, like, you know, like heavy bands, metal bands, that kind of thing. I'm sure there'll be loads of metal people out there saying, if I were to say it's a dying culture, they'd be like, no, it's not, blah, 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 blah. But that's the point.
Yeah.
In Huddersfield, it's not. And that's brilliant. That's why I love Huddersfield, because Huddersfield is just so inclusive of everything when it comes to the music scene. We've had all sorts come through the Huddersfield doors, you know, myself included. But it's just brilliant. Like, the thing that I like as well, as you said, it's nice to be able to come back, you know, like a few years on, and still see two things actually, and still see that there's wonderful opportunities, great new bands coming through, people still playing, people still going for it, Paris still getting sold out with all these wonderful new bands. And the other thing as well, which is obviously just nice on a personal note, it's nice to be able to go back to Huddersfield and still kind of have people remember me, if that makes sense. Not that I've stopped doing anything, not that I've gone away or crawled away into non-existence or anything like that. I'm obviously still active as a musician, but it's like, it's cool to still see all the old faces and still kind of have people say, do you know what, I remember seeing you at your first gig in Paris in like 3 years, and like, you know, you're doing really well, keep it up, that kind of thing. And I was like, you know what, thanks, cheers, that's really nice. And that warms my heart, because obviously Huddersfield's got a lot of sentimental value to me, especially that scene. I've had some great times in the Huddersfield music scene. We've got some wonderful bands that have come through. Courtyards, obviously, are playing on Saturday, Mahatma Raindrop, Palms, one of the best bands I've seen coming through Huddersfield. Brilliant stuff. Obviously got other ones as well that are coming through at the moment. One Last Station, they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's been loads.
Box
Absolutely
Tellies.
loads. Box Telly, yeah.
Yeah.
As
Sold
I
Out
said,
Parish
the
a couple
name
of weeks ago.
exactly. The names
Yeah.
will slip from me, but they're all there. I know
They're all
exactly.
there.
Yeah, Box Tellies is a great example. But yeah, no. Huddersfield scene. It's a wonderful place. I'm glad to see that it's still going. I'm glad to see that it's still thriving, better than ever. And, you know, big up Huddersfield. It competes. It competes with some really big places.
Yeah.
I live in Surrey, right? Huddersfield music scene is way better than the music scene in Surrey. Fact. Places like Manchester, obviously Huddersfield's never going to be bigger than Manchester in terms of the music scene, but my point is, people go to Huddersfield and then they go to Manchester, and it's kind of on like the same level. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, certainly I do. I know a lot of people who respect the value of Huddersfield just as much as they do with Manchester. It's not like they say, oh yeah, Manchester, big date, London, big date, Nottingham, big date, Birmingham, big date, oh yeah, and Huddersfield on the side. It's like, no. Huddersfield, especially for me, and a lot of other people, Huddersfield's always a big date.
Yeah.
And so it should be, because you can sell out. Parish, you've got two great venues in Huddersfield. Parish, obviously that's the best one, and Picture Drome's a fantastic venue as well.
Yeah, Picture Dome is fantastic.
It's huge.
Yeah, that was my first ever actual like band that people know gig, like
Yeah.
rather than like pub band.
Yeah.
I saw Bowling for Soup there, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I fell in
bet.
love with gigs
Bowling for
instantly.
Soup, what a band. I like Bowling for Soup, they were cool. Brilliant. Huddersfield music scene, one of the best in the country. Proud of it. Proud to have been a part of it. Proud to still be a part of it. It's nice
Like you're never really short of a support band in Huddersfield, because
No, never.
Like you can literally be like, all right, cool, we're playing this gig, we're this kind of genre band, and someone will be like, we can go with that.
Yeah, there's always some seriously great artists coming through Huddersfield all the time. It's really, really cool. And do you know what? I wish I had an answer which would explain why that happens, like why that is. I guess it must just be like a culture thing. Everybody's just really open and really like...
It's not just a music scene, it's a music community.
Absolutely. It's such a like an accepting place, and I just love that. I think it's wonderful. Absolutely love it. Like, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what you sing, you'll always be welcome in Huddersfield. Do you know what I mean? You'll always be welcome in Parish. And I think that's genuinely really important, because I've found that there are some places that are very kind of places around the UK that are specifically good with sort of one particular genre, or there's like a spike or a peak in sort of one particular genre, which is understandable. That's okay, that happens. But I think that's a credit to Huddersfield in the sense that I don't really think there is that. I think it's just, if anything, it's, probably hard rock or metal. But as I say, there's a lot of that. But I think there's a lot of everything. That's my point. Like, it's such a level playing field in terms of all the different stuff that comes through. I just think it's great. It glows. You know what I mean? It really glows on the map for me, Huddersfield. Probably because I obviously went to uni there, but I mean in terms of the music scene, it always just struck me as a glowing place.
So obviously, like, one of the things that sort of like seems to stem from your songs is like a sort of idea around mental health and stuff. Like, how does that sort of come about?
Do you mean sort of how does it come about in terms of the songwriting process?
Yeah.
Like, how does it filter in? Yeah, well... That's a good question. I have always been, so it would seem, an artist that writes best when I'm talking about myself and we're talking about my experiences. There's some really great artists out there, through history and, unsigned or signed or, whatever, big or not, who are really good at sort of jumping into somebody else's perspective. And I think I can do that. I have done it. I've done it before. But I just think I find it easier to always write about myself and always write about things that are relevant to me. And I think there's a lot of songs, I've written a lot of songs about relationships, and as you say, I've written a few songs about mental health as well. Like, certainly Take Me to the Other Side was a very kind of mental health based song. Crazy touched on it, wasn't quite as black and white, but Crazy was a combination, actually. Crazy was like the situation of mental health described within the context of a relationship, but it wasn't actually sort of talking from the context of the relationship. It was just using the relationship as a way of describing the message, sending the message, if that makes sense. But yeah, like Take Me to the Other Side, that was very much like a song about mental health. And just because, it's around, it's there. You can't really get away from it, especially, people our age. I think one of the beautiful things that our generation has done really, really well is like just opened up that door, opened up that conversation. You have to be careful still, in the sense that you can more or less talk to anybody our age about mental health, about stuff like that. And, you can say, hey, I'm not doing so good. And if you're talking to somebody our age, sort of, the sort of younger generation, without a doubt, I'm almost certain that the majority of people would just sit down and go, okay, cool, no problem, let's chat, let's talk about it. No worries, like, completely safe.
There is definitely a generational thing
Absolutely.
there. Like, if you said that to someone who, I don't want to use the term, not for any derogatory term, but just because it's too generic, but like, if you speak to a boomer, for example, it's like, they're like, like, oh, it's all in your head, like, get on with it.
Absolutely. Well, this is the thing, like, it's actually, and again, I don't really know how to describe it. I'm just going to say the older generation. I guess, like, older generation, who is the older generation? Mums and dads, grandparents, that kind of range. It's them who I actually kind of feel sorry for the most, in the sense that they didn't have the opportunity, or they didn't have the culture that our generation does, which is this very, very open conversation about mental health. And it's really sad, because a lot of the people that I've met in my life who suffer the most from mental health issues are actually in the older generation.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who need to have the chat the most. But in their kind of bubble, in their generation, it's never been a thing. They've never had that opportunity to talk about it. It's always been looked down upon. Nobody's ever been honest about it, blah, blah, blah. So they've just kind of kept it in there. It's almost been seen as like, it's a weakness if you talk about your mental health from their perspective kind of thing. And I don't know, I'm sure there's people out there who are very open about their mental health. And I'm not saying that there's people in the older generation who aren't, but it's kind of the older generation were very deprived of this opportunity to be open and to have a kind of culture, a sort of friends and family who it's all very open, it's all very, it's all fine, it's all okay, you can talk about this stuff if you want to. And as I said, it goes back to my point, like, I think I know so many people in the older generation who, because I've spoken about mental health with a lot of people, typical of our generation, you sort of get good at spotting somebody who clearly needs to sit down and speak to someone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And speak about it. But it's that first step that they just never quite, they've never had that kind of access. They've never had that encouragement, shall we say, from themselves and the people around them to say, make that first step.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, I also feel like you want to approach it in a sort of sense where it's like, you want them to be the person that's in control of making that step as well, because then
absolutely.
it's their achievement, essentially.
Yeah. And I made a point earlier as well with mental health when I said you have to be careful in the sense that one thing that I think is great, as I said, about our generation is generally with most people, doesn't matter who you are, you can sit down and if you say the words mental health, there's a sort of a synergy. Yeah, there's kind of like a common place, common ground where you're kind of like, okay, there's like a specific way that I need to approach this now, and so you should, which is wonderful. I think that's what we've got great at, which is, it's okay to talk about it, it's all fine, it's all open, it's great, but brilliant. However, I think if you're really, really struggling and you're really, really, really need to open up, you need to choose very, very carefully who your friends are when it comes to your mental health, because everybody can discuss it, but not everybody can help you personally to get through it. And that's really, really important. I have this kind of analogy in my head, which I kind of used before. When you're at your darkest points, or you really get yourself into a bad place mentally, you have to imagine that you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you're looking over that cliff and there's a gust of wind blowing behind you. You falling off that cliff and hitting the bottom, that's rock bottom. That's like absolute worst case scenario. That's all the grisly stuff that we always hear about when it comes to this sort of thing. The people behind you, when you're standing on that cliff, who are begging you to come down, those people in your mind, the first people that you think of when it comes to that sort of scenario, they are the people that you want to be talking about. The people who, when it actually gets serious, will, without a doubt, help you, will be there like that, and will not that there's a responsibility on them to make you better, so to speak, but they won't hesitate when it comes to, they will actually be there. That's been really good for me. That's happened to me a couple of times. And there's a few other people I know who have had the same sort of lifeline. And it's really, really important because, there's, as I said, for me, I've got two best mates. And these are the two that I'm thinking about in particular. And it's kind of nobody else on this planet other than those two can dig me out of the holes that I've been in sometimes quite like them. And that's just because they know how to get through to me. They know how to talk to me. They know how to phrase things and to say things in the right way that gets into my brain. Obviously, there's, not to discourage people from going out to the services and the people and to not sort of talk about it. I just mean, from my point of view, when things get really, really serious, turn to the people who you know the best. Like, turn to the people who you know and you love and who know you and love you, because they are always your best bet.
So, we said that is sort of interwoven throughout the music that you've got. Obviously, you don't want to give any surprises away, but is that something that's going to come up in the future as well? Yeah,
well, certainly I can reveal that the next single that I'm releasing, it's not, unlike Take Me to the Other Side, it's not like actually about mental health. It's more about the way that people are. It's kind of a what's the word? It sort of shines a light a little bit on how mental health has affected culture and how people act and are and sort of operate within that kind of mindset. So it's kind of like the aftermath of mental health, should we say. The song meaning of my next one focuses a lot on sort of how people have become, or sort of how it's gone quite far with technology, in the sense that people have kind of actually really done some damage to themselves because of how much they use social media, or how much social media has gripped them.
Yeah, obviously people can't, expect the Hang the DJ set because it's happened, but for the people who went to it, what will they have lived through? What's going to be on the set? What's come together there?
Yeah.
Good.
It's all there. It's my usual set that I've been doing for the last kind of 6 months or so. Starting off with Take Me to the Other Side. Always a good one to start with. Powerful little song. Love it to bits. I'm going to start with Take Me to the Other Side. Then we're going to go into Why Won't You Leave Me Alone, which is obviously
an old classic.
If you're an AT fan. I know I certainly am. No, Why Won't You Leave Me Alone is a really special song for me. I know we're talking about the set. I'll very briefly go on a small little anecdote here. I won't stray too far from the path. But I very nearly didn't release that song. And boy, I would have regretted that if I didn't. I remember I did the video, I recorded the song. I had no idea about anything. I just sat down, wrote a song, did it with no restraints, filmed a little bedroom video, and just thought, hey, I've done some covers. Everybody knows that I do music. Let's just put something of my own out and see how it goes. And it was uploading to Facebook. Man, I very nearly hit the cancel button. Like, genuinely, I've very nearly just wigged out on that one. And I very nearly thought to myself, is this going to go well? Is this going to go well? I don't think this is going to... People are going to judge me. People are going to be horrible, blah, 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 blah. And I just thought, no, just do it. Get it out. Bang. I just released it. And everybody really liked it.
Yeah.
And it launched my career, gave me something to do, gave me a career, which, is the best feeling in the world. So, yeah, why won't you leave me alone? Why won't you leave me alone? Why won't you leave me alone? Second song on the set. Always a special one. Then we're going to do a song called Look, which is not being released.
Oh.
It's going to be on my EP. Yeah, it's going to be on my EP. Playing that live. Played that live for a while now, so some people will recognise it, which is cool. Then we're doing Crazy, a classic. I like that song. It's a boppy little song. It's cute. Crazy, and then we're doing a song called Shine a Torch on Me, which is also unreleased. EP stuff. Then we're doing Come Together.
Yeah.
Brilliant song. Just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. It's got to be done. Then we're doing Slow Down, which is may or may not be the next single. Maybe. No, it is. So yeah, we're doing Slow Down, and then we're finishing with Same Old Animals, because that always goes well at the end. Nice little party tune
Yeah.
to get the mums and dads going.
Whilst I've still got you here, is there anything you would like to plug?
Anything I would like to plug? Yes. There is stuff I would like to plug. Me. Keep listening, please. You're all lovely people. I'm so grateful and very, very humbled by the fact that people still even remotely have time in their day to factor me in and to listen to my music. Going to go on more tours, going to do more videos, more songs coming out, EP, singles, the whole shebang. I'm going to be on it this year.
And if people want to find you online, obviously it's Alex Tracey, but Tracey with an E.
Yes. Thank you, Ruby. You're fantastic. It's so... the amount of time that people go, oh, you're right, Tracy. It's Tracy. And I was like, oh, man, come on. It's just reading. It's basic reading. You can see on the internet all over, it's my name's clearly got an E in it. It's always had an E. 23 years of it, it's had an E in it. You'd think people would catch on, but they don't. Tracy. It's apparently how they want to spell it. It's incorrect. Tracey. Don't forget the E. The E is very important, because that's how you spell my name. Instagram, Alex Tracey Music. Twitter, at Alex Tracey Music. YouTube, Alex Tracey Music. Facebook, Alex Tracey. No music.
And
for music, Alex Tracey.
Yeah, precisely. Spotify, Alex Tracey. You get the idea.
Well, I hope you enjoy Hang the DJ. I hope by the time this comes out, we've both enjoyed Hang the DJ.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Ruby. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with Ruby Price.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Alex Tracey. If you were at Hang the DJ, I hope you had as much of an amazing time as I did. It was really, really fun. There's another Hang the DJ related podcast coming next week. Keep an eye on socials to find out who that will be. You probably already know. But if you don't know, then it'll be a surprise next week. So yeah, I will see you in next week's episode of Fresh from the Scene. Have a good week. Thanks and goodbye.